Power. When we hear the word, we think of power in the world around us. People in power. Powerful systems, the power of nature. What we don't realize is power is us. It's personal, it's primitive, it's passionate, and it's full of possibilities, but only if harnessed, cultivated, strengthened, and unleashed from within. This power is everyone's to have, everyone's to find, everyone's to own. Not just a select few, but all of us. This is Nicole Devlin, professional life coach. Thanks for joining me today for From the Nth Power, where I'll be talking about power in everyday life. I'll be asking you to explore personal notions of power, how to become aware of it, grow it, and utilize it. Through my endeavors to grow my own power, which have created a foundation of wisdom, I'll help you find ways for the power of your complete internal self, mind, body, even spirit, to create more peace and more confidence, resulting in more success and greater results in your external life. Welcome to the birth and growth of your own personal conception of power. Welcome to From the Nth Power. Hello, everybody. Once again, this is Nicole Devlin with From the Nth Power podcast. We talk about power. It's personal, it's spiritual, it's soulful, and it's something that everybody needs more of, because in the place and space of time that we live in right now, it's certainly like very frequently common to see a lot of people feeling powerless, powerless to make decisions, powerless to change their lives, powerless to overcome a lot of what's happened over the past couple of years, powerless to feel like they can connect with people. So my interest and my passion is to talk about power, how to find it, grow it, and that seed that you need to grow it starts here. If we keep looking to these outside structures to give us permission to have power, we're going to be sorely disrupted, we're going to stay disconnected, and we're going to feel not so good all of the time, because confidence, success, and everything great you want in your life comes from that essence of personal power and from that seed. So the podcast that I do is called From the Nth Power, and it's about shifting perceptions of power back to yourself, figuring out how to grow it. And I invite guests to my podcast to talk about how they grow their own power, how they shift their perception, how they expand their souls. And today's guest is Nina Presman. And Nina's an energy healer. She does manifestation work, a lot of transformative ideas. She's got great vibrating energy around healing trauma and has a great story. So I'm going to turn it over to Nina so she can introduce herself briefly, and then we'll get into the meat of the podcast. Go for it, Nina.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Nina Presman, and I do have quite a story. But a minute ago, as you were talking about power, I was thinking what it was that really made that shift in my life to become from just barely surviving, struggling, not knowing where to find love, being all over the place, to who I became once I woke up. It is the moment that I realized that my universe, it is my reality. My perception controls my universe. And I am the most powerful person in my universe. There is nobody more powerful than me. And so every single person, we all have our perception. We all have our world. We all have our own universe. And in that universe, each one of us is the most powerful being, because we can create anything. And it all starts with love.
Yeah.
It all starts with the unconditional self-love and courage to find it.
Yes.
I know it's short. If you want to ask me questions, I'm ready.
Yeah, go for it. Let's do it. Yeah. And so for the record, the title of today's Powercast is The Power of Shifting from Fear to Love, because both Nina and I understand from experience, and we connected around the idea that if your life is going to get bigger, if you're going to get unstuck, if you're going to feel more powerful, you have to shift out of the idea that something else is controlling you, because that'll just feed fear. And you have to take that shift and use that transformation and build a life full of love, which, as Nina mentioned, is about bringing your perception back to the fact that you are the master of that perception and the master of your own world and even your own universe. And when you take on that sense of responsibility, you begin to heal, and all sorts of doors open to create what it is you want in your life. And I'm not talking about what it is you want in your life, like the stuff that comes after the what it is you want in your life. about how you feel, which is enough on the inside, right? So tell me, like, so first off, like, tell us a little bit about your type of energy healing work that you do. How is it unique, and what kind of person could use you to help heal or transform their energy?
So basically, to start with this, anyone who wants to feel better, anyone who wants to find him or herself, anyone with any kind of physical problems or issues. I have a very unique gift. It's not something that I learned in school or read books about or took courses. It happened to me. I woke up 10 years ago and I just grabbed onto it because what I started seeing was unbelievable. It was amazing. I started seeing myself, started with myself. I saw my consciousness, and then I saw my soul, and then I saw the body I was wearing. And the body is a biological computer. That's all it is. So I can see the DNA. Now, DNA looks like a circuit board.
Mhm.
I know it's kind of electronically speaking, but this is what it is. Our DNA is a circuit board. And we also have operating systems that we choose for ourselves before we come here. So let's say you want to experience this kind of trauma or this kind of trauma. And trust me, we pick our traumas for ourselves because this is what makes us grow. So we give ourselves these steps to overcome, to grow, to expand. And then up until now we're not creating any more karma. We are literally at the highest point we have ever been so far. We're going even further. So we're not creating any more karma now. But before this time, we were creating karma. So I can see these operating systems, the karma, which is also programs. So it looks like basically it's very easy to imagine if you have a computer.
Yeah.
You have a keyboard and your computer is loaded with software, which is programs. We are loaded with software, which is programs, because without them, we are unconditional love. We're created by God, and God is unconditional love. Our soul is a piece of God. So everything that does not feel like love didn't come from God. So what I do, I see those programs and I delete them. I basically break up the particles in four, the energetic particles, and this particular program cease to exist. So let's say you're born with cancer. Let's say you're born with depression. And I'm saying born with depression because that's what we're born with. We don't just, it doesn't just jump into us out of the blue. It is there. We come with it. I see those programs, I see where they're attached to the DNA, and I literally unplug them. And then I break up the particles. And it's going permanently. Then at the same time, I download the opposite programs. Full love, self-love, unconditional self-love, know how to love yourself. Just one word love has so many different angles and types.
Yeah.
First of all, you have to have courage to love yourself. This has been a big topic lately because it's very difficult for a person to look inside himself or herself, especially when we used to go shopping, drinking alcohol, watching TV, doing whatever we do to escape, just looking inside themselves. You know, you leave one person alone for 15 minutes in a quiet room and they go crazy. They don't
Absolutely.
know what to do with themselves.
Mhm.
This is where I think that actually COVID really helped a lot of people because they either had to look inside themselves or they didn't. So basically, it was a huge shift for us. And I
Oh,
think for the better.
undoubtedly. And really, the power of self-love, because the choice is always there. You know, you talk about programs and biological things
Yeah,
and things that are in us at birth, and it doesn't just happen to us out of like oh, a bad mood or depression doesn't just drop out of thin air as if
correct.
some god up there is like, hey, I'm going to give you a nice dose of depression. There's literally like things in us that are attaching themselves to the environment and are growing like weeds almost. And you
They
call them
are.
programs, I call them maybe plants and seeds, but we both agree that like the power of self-love can change your reality, can manifest new realities, and from there it can help other people. So like, for example, you talked about like quantum energy and how you use quantum energy to heal trauma. And I know that the work you do, you want to help people. So talk about those two things. Maybe they're separate or together. The power of self-love and what you call quantum energy, and speak to that in terms of like the person who's here listening to this and who is experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder or depression. Like, what is it that they can do to change their programming, to manifest a new reality, to actually, and I don't even know what
I understand. I understand what you're saying. So everybody actually has to understand that since we have programs, since we are programmed, every program, every emotion, every feeling has a different vibration.
Yeah.
Vibrations, that's where the quantum physics come in. Because with something that vibrates low can always be overridden by something that vibrates high. So love, unconditional love, peace, joy, vibrates, all vibrated in third dimension. We're not in third dimension anymore, but I'm gonna address it as people know, as a general knowledge. Actually, the stable vibrations, scale of vibration was created by David Hawkins.
Yeah.
And I think everybody read most of his books. So when you are thinking love, when you are feeling love, you cannot feel fear. Fear vibrates very low. Fear is below 200. The vibration of 200 is vibration of courage. Courage to look inside yourself, to accept yourself unconditionally. So when we start with that, self-acceptance is going to override any kind of jealousy, any kind of hate, any kind of fear, because it vibrates higher. So when we learn these different channels, like listening to AM radio, you cannot hear the FM radio. So if you're vibrating high, and you can choose what your brain wants to think at this particular moment.
Yeah.
I want to bring this up real fast. I think most people know Abraham Hicks. Everybody, like Abraham Hicks, the manifestation, the vortex. I've listened to Abraham Hicks when I first start awakening to my true self for 2 years straight. It was very interesting to me. But the manifestation didn't work for me. I understood that we were the creators. I understood that I have to get into the vortex. But what is the vortex? I couldn't seem to find my footing in the vortex. And then I realized, wait a minute, not anywhere I hear the word love. There is nowhere that it says you have to love yourself to manifest things. Because when I could get in the vortex, it was only when I would pick up my puppy that I felt love. And that was the vortex. This is where it all started. This is when I started realizing that unconditional self-love equals enlightenment.
Yeah.
When you're in the moment, this is when you're in the vortex, in the present, in the now, feeling love.
Yeah.
Feeling love for yourself or for whatever being. It could be your child, it could be your pet, it could be anything. It's that moment that creates the manifestation of anything and everything we want. Yeah. This is a very high vibration. It's a vibration of love.
Yeah.
And we can choose.
Yeah.
Our brain is the most powerful organ, tool that we have.
Yeah.
Any moment, any second, we can choose. What do I want to feel? What do I want to think? You feel bad? You feel like the world abandoned you. Nobody wants you. Nobody understands you. For me, you can change this. The second it starts, you can change it. You have a power to do it.
Yeah. And, you said something that has actually now been a theme. It's really funny. I just interviewed somebody last week, and it was this idea. I love that you brought up, Abraham Hicks. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Abraham Hicks, it's what, you may have heard of as law of attraction, right? That you manifest. It's your thoughts that are creating your reality. And if you just choose to think something differently, different things will happen. Now, what you talked about, like, is what was missing was unconditional love. And let me just return to that in a moment, because this other person I interviewed was like, also had a bit of an issue with law of attraction, as did I, when it first came to me as an idea for changing my life, changing my thought patterns, and changing my feelings. Right. It seemed very airy fairy, but I was like, okay, I can do this. I can, I'm thinking a certain way. I'm going to, take my brain and literally put it onto another thought. But what I didn't understand was the lower vibration of fear within me. And what this person said last week was that what the law of attraction was missing is, like, of the four elements, air, earth, fire, water, what it was missing was earth. What it was missing is something grounded. And as you were just talking, what it was missing for me was that I didn't know how to take different action. So earth is like grounding, right? And so this idea that I'm just going to put my thought and then everything's going to change, that is incomplete, because the truth is,
Very.
change the way I act, I have to become conscious of my thoughts. I have to know their little puffs going out of my head, creating my reality. And that is very airy. And then there's a water element, which is movement, and then fire, whatever the passion, intensity. So I didn't know how to align the elements, which is to say, for me as a passionate person, I needed to take that like fiery energy and land it and ground it on earth, which means that I take actions based in love. So I don't just sit in my feelings.
Correct.
Oh, I'm feeling this lower vibration of fear and I don't know what to do. Well, let me just feel it and think that it is just going to pass through me. I have to take action against it.
Yes.
So I'm feeling hate, depression, stuckness, aggravation, remorse, shame, regret. I got to turn myself to like helping somebody, changing myself to like spending time with my little kitty cat, move a muscle, change a thought, so to speak, right? And that's the power of unconditional love. Taking actions in my life that will change. And it's not just the action alone and the earth element, it's also the air and fire and water elements that understand that the energy is going to move. But the fire comes in for me when I attach passion and intensity and enthusiasm to my actions. That's how I dissipate what's already, like you said, a lower vibration element, like darkness or despair. Those are lower vibrations. They're really a lot easier to overcome, but people get stuck in them because they don't really they become fearful and they don't know how to change it. And they're like, well, this is just how I feel. This is not something like you're a victim of what's happening to you, And so let's talk about that kind of person, because I tended over the past couple of years to feel really stuck around these conversations where with people,
Right.
well, this is just how it is. I'm just not a happy person, or, well, I can't change my life or my body. I'm just, no matter what I do, I can't lose weight. That's really depressing for me to hear, because I feel powerless, because I know I've quit smoking, I've quit drinking, I've lost weight, I've changed the way I eat. And it's not because I'm a great person with a lot of discipline. No, that's not the reality.
Right.
I've just sought how to take this energy of what you're calling this higher vibration of love and sought for how to channel it through my body and recreate my life. So speak to that person right now, about, the energy and the vibration to someone who's really like, I'm stuck and it's not my problem, or they feel victimized by the stuckness.
So we have something that people don't know about. It's called gamma waves. Gamma waves is a brain wave created by brain cells in the heart. Scientists actually found brain cells in the heart. So we have two components that we think with. We have our heart and we have our brain, but we don't know about the heart. There is a very short meditation that can bring these gamma waves up. Gamma waves are very important. Gamma waves is our connection with God, our connection with ourselves, and our connection with love. And it all happens right here. I don't know if you can see me in the chakra, in a heart chakra.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do this really quick. It doesn't take a long time. I'm not going to do the whole meditation, but I want the listeners to see this. And so we're going to put our hands like this and press into the center of your chest. That'll be the center of your heart chakra. Now close your eyes. Now what I want you to do is focus the energy of your entire body in that place where you're pressing in. This is the center of your heart chakra. And start breathing from it. So you're going to breathe in and breathe out through the nose. Exactly like that. Very slow and deeply. Now focus your thoughts on gratitude, unconditional love, appreciation, either one. You can just say those words in your head. I'm grateful. I love myself. Whatever feels more comfortable. Now take the tip of your tongue and stick it to the roof of your mouth. And breathe with that intent. right about now, you should start feeling the shift. There it is. So this is an example of how to activate your own gamma waves. This will shift you immediately. I don't want to take too long sitting and doing this, but I think everybody got the idea. 3 minutes a day in the morning. This is thing number one. Thing number two is very simple. We have to invoke the power of God in ourselves. The power of God is right here. It's in our heart. It's in our soul. Our soul is a piece of God. So with all the power of God that I am, I ask God, how do I love myself 100%? This is magic. This is absolute magic. You do this every day for 7 days. Just ask that question. Invoke the power of God in you. And with the power of God, you ask God. You ask the source. God, the main source. How do I love myself 100%? Our brain is ego. Our heart is love. When we connect our heart to the source and we ask source from the heart to give us unconditional self-love at 100%, it starts coming. It starts coming. It is amazing what happens. The things start changing around you. You start becoming less fearful. This is a huge step into overcoming fear with love. Also, thoughts themselves are not going to do this. If you just change your thoughts, the thoughts are empty. You have to connect your heart into it. Heart, this is where love lives. If you forget about your heart and just stay in the brain, you're never going to connect to that vortex, to that root of the manifestation of law of attraction, of unconditional self-love. Enlightenment itself, like I said before, this is the unconditional self-love, the equal.
Yeah.
The moment you feel you have so much love in you, just for you, for being alive, for feeling appreciation for everything in your life, that moment you have so much of it in you that it's going to spill out onto others.
Yeah.
And then your vibration is going to start healing people around you. But you really can't start doing things for people before you do this for yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you have to. You have to learn how to love yourself. That's where it all lies. When we come here, originally, we come here enlightened. We come here loving ourselves. Then we download ourselves with all these programs and all this crap, pardon my language, and we forget through all these times that we've been coming to Earth through, I don't know, trillions of years and Earths. This is Earth number 27. We blew ourselves up so many times because we all forgot our connection to love, to ourselves, to God. We actually found it because we made it into fifth dimension and higher. And now the new world is coming. It's actually coming in 2025. This is why there's so many people that are waking up right now and they're trying to find their place in this world. And they might feel disconnected because we're not used to these high vibrations. Life is not as simple as going shopping and watching TV and putting on makeup anymore.
Right.
Going shopping, I went through that. 300 pairs of shoes, purses, and a breast surgery.
Yeah.
And never made me happy. I gave it all away and I reduced, I took out the breast implants.
Yeah.
It wasn't it. But now everybody, I already went through this. I went through my awakening and I went to a point where now my goal, my desire, my passion is to help everyone around me to wake up to the true potential.
Yeah.
We don't need any of this.
No, it's what everything you just said, the courage it takes to look at the world, forget about, like just even starting to look at the world differently. And I think that you're right, that the past couple of years, people, as they turned inward and had to stay home, they went one of two directions. They went to greater self-love and self-care, and they went to greater self-hatred, probably because they've been living their lives, going, the breast surgeries, the shopping, the shoes, the this,
Yeah.
kids here. They had a little life that was like, I wake up at 8:58, and then I make breakfast at 9:05, and then I do this at 9:15, and then I get the 9:29 train, and then I pick up the kids at 3, and everything was like so boxed in. And all of a sudden the box was like, and people didn't know what the F to do with themselves next. And that when one is stuck with oneself, that's when the courageous meetup starts to happen. That's when you're really like, oh, who am I? Because now I'm not my job. I'm not sure if I know how to parent because my kids are driving me crazy. I'm hating my husband. I'm hating my life. I can't go to work. I have no money. I haven't saved enough to be prepared for losing my job right now because my business closed down. And that left a lot of people really like almost in the air. And I think it also needed to bring people back. And I think what you're talking about is how to bring it back. Because when we did that exercise, it's so funny. I'm such a meditation cynic. What I mean by that is that like,
I get it.
Yeah, like anytime anybody presents me, like, just do this like this and that like that, and I start to breathe, like my first inclination, because I got a big ego and an active mind, is like, oh my God, I have a million better things to do than be sitting here bleeping breathing, right? But right when you said, okay, the shift should happen now, literally within like about 2 seconds before that, I was like, oh, something just changed. Now, I'm not a perfect meditator, but I've meditated and I do have a practice, be it on and off. So I know I can feel the point of meditation where like my mind stops and the breathing shifts. And it was right before you said that, because the truth is that I am attached to my heart, and my heart is the place where I feel who I am. And, you know, going over like momentarily also to this idea of, you know, the I am and the soul, at least this is how I said it. You know, if you go back to biblical teaching, which we talked about a little bit before the podcast started, you know, and Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the light, right? There's no way to the Father except through me. When I was delving into, let's say, religion, Christianity, whatever, as a practice for myself, as a way to grow, I love the teachings of Jesus. I did. I really, really did. And I still do. I think the dude was a master, right? And I found myself, though, at odds and objecting to certain tenets that seemed to veer away from Jesus's teaching and make God into something that I didn't understand and couldn't connect with, which is to say, the only way to get to the Father was through me, which was like I had to acknowledge and believe in Jesus Christ specifically. And I was like, but I don't get it. I know that I am the I am yourself and the God within. And it's not, I don't got to go through some dude that lived like 2000 some odd years ago. But then how do I get to the Father? Because I never knew anything else. I get to the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. You know, I get rid of you know, I get back to like, you know, the super ego, you know, and like dismiss the id and the ego through my breath, through the understanding that I am a greater being, a higher soul existing and manifesting in this body at this moment in space and time. And that everything that I'm thinking can be switched because it's all perceptual reality in the first place from that programming, right? That you speak about. And so like, and I want to just like focus or move towards the last question or issue we talked about, which is this idea of someone being enough. Like, what does it really take? I mean, is it that simple? You're waking up in the morning and asking God, you know, how do I be 100% self-love today? If someone just keeps doing that, will they come to the place of being enough? Or is there more?
There is more. There's never enough. I can tell you from personal experience, there's never enough. I get up here and then I go higher and then I go higher. At least for me, there's not enough. My husband, he says that I was born to climb up this. I will till I can't breathe anymore. Yep. Because I don't believe in being stagnant. We are unlimited beings. Yep. There are no limitations, none. Imagine this, the only limitations that we have is in our head. I can't, I shouldn't, I wouldn't, or they said. Even our aging itself, we're born here enlightened. But when we're born, what is the first thing we hear since we're children? Okay, you're gonna grow up, get old, get sick, and die. And if you make it to 100 years, it means you lived a long time. Look in the Bible, Abraham lived till he was 900. Right. What happened?
Right.
Nothing happened between them. We have the same DNA. It has changed lately, but the lifespan shortened. It's because of the expectation. We expect what we are taught. So to become unlimited, first it starts with self-love. When you love yourself enough to know, okay, I refuse to listen to all this. I want to find out for myself because I am better than what everybody is teaching me. I'm a rebel. So
Yeah, me too.
I've always been a rebel, right? So I don't believe what anybody's teaching me. I only believe here what feels right. And every time I rely on this and not on this, it always takes me to the right place. This is where God, how do I love myself 100% comes in at. Because to be able to rely on your heart and not on your brain. So we see commercials all the time, insurance, ADT, alarm system, drugs, this, it is all based on fear. News. So many people died, you have to wear a mask or blah, 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 and this and this. It's all fear. We're being fed fear no matter where we turn. We look at the TV, there's models, gorgeous thin models, and the pills for weight loss, and this for weight loss. It is all based on fear. You're not going to be accepted by society. So when the moment you get this much love for yourself, that none of that matters to you anymore. None of it.
Okay.
When you really see it for the fear it is, this is when you're ready to grow. Growth doesn't start until that moment. I think that climbing up to this moment, digging your way to this moment is hard. It's hard. It takes courage. It takes more than just the brain, than thinking. It takes, I want to be better than I am right now. But once you get to that point, all the doors open up because it goes, your perception gets changed so much that everything looks different. Everything looks like an illusion that you can just overcome. It's like, okay, this is only an illusion because I perceive it this way. That makes everything look different. I'm going to give a real short example. In 2017, so I live in Florida, and we had this huge hurricane coming. I live in Boca Raton, near the water, and I already knew that it was going to turn. I knew ahead of time it was going to turn. It was going to go to Naples, but we still were going to get hit. I was overtaken with so much fear, and for some reason, it was a great lesson for me. I couldn't control it. I would, no matter what, I couldn't get out of my head. I couldn't control it. I was panicking because I have business, I own a spa, which is in the East Boca. I was terrified I was going to lose my business. For some reason, it created this fear in my head. And at that point, I couldn't channel like I can now. I mean, in 2017, it wasn't even half of what I am now. So to get my answers, I had angel cards. So I spread the angel cards and I go, okay, I need to get an answer for this. There has to be an answer. What's going to happen? I pull a card and it says, look past the illusion. I'm like, that makes no sense. Shuffle the cards again. Look past the illusion. 3 times, I pulled the same card. Right. And then I sat back and said, that makes sense. I created this illusion in my head. Look past it. I was able to see the hurricane as the wall was getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And when I looked past it, I saw that everything was going to be fine. But this is amazing. It was such an amazing lesson for me. I think everybody should experience that because it opens up this like that. Yeah. Oh my God, this fear that I'm going to lose my job and I'm going to be homeless. Yeah. It's an illusion. The fear I'm not going to have enough money to pay rent, the fear that I cannot do something, is just an illusion. Yeah. It goes hand in hand with loving yourself. First, we create an illusion for ourselves of who we are. Look past the illusion. Look inside your heart. Yeah. That's when you know who you are. An enlightened, powerful being. Limitless, unlimited, whichever way you want to call it. This is the name of my business that I'm creating right now. It's called energy work unlimited.
Yep. Yep.
Because I want to teach others how to be unlimited, just like that.
And they need that. People need that shift, right? Like as the title of the podcast is like power of shifting from fear to love. And you said something earlier, that's a great story about the whole like looking past the illusion. And of course, it's just so coincidental that you get the same card. And I think like speak to the average person, whoever that is. I mean, you define yourself as a rebel. I would not have defined myself that way prior to, similar to you, the past 10 years. Now I know I am. And it's not like a rebel, like, give me a rule and I'm going to fight it and defy it. That's what a rebel is. For me, rebel is like, I think outside the box. I accept nothing without it being questioned. I make up my own mind. I don't follow along. And the thing is that kind of work has to, like, I could see clearly from you that, like, when you talk about you want to vibrate higher and be, greater than you were yesterday. And if you're like me, which I know you are, like, you get to that place where you've like arrived higher and then you just want to go higher. So it's like a never ending, because the well is unlimited, right? That this well that is you, it's like before you would have thought it was this big, but then you do a little work and you end up at the top of it and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. There's a lot more capacity here. I thought I had 4 gallons, but I've got like 18 gallons. Then you like climb a little higher, but it takes a lot of courage and quote unquote learning how to swim around in that well, which is that you don't exactly know how deep it is. You don't know how dark it could get. You don't know what you're going to find when you're going to start looking inside. And some of this work is disturbing, disruptive, and even sometimes quite painful. But if you want the other side, if you want the unlimited energy, if you want the greater courage, which from all that comes the stuff that you think you want, which is the greater success, the nice house, the pups, the kids, that stuff is a physical manifestation of the unlimited energy. And it takes a lot. And it starts with recognizing unconditional love. It starts with like asking whatever you perceive your power to be, like, how do I love myself? Like, even as we're having this conversation, Nina, like I had some certain sort of like, let's call it depressive feelings this morning, like, whatever it happens to be about it. A friend of mine always used to say, it's always the same thing: men, money, and mansions. So it's like my house, it's about money or it's about men. And that's the case for me. Like I'll start getting, I don't have enough. This isn't working. Something's wrong with me. How come I can't have what so-and-so has? And all of that is limited thinking. And I got to get, the beauty of being in this like game, as long as I have, is that I know what to do with that. I know that it's limitation. I know that it's lack. I know that it's insecurity, and I know that it's just a figment of my imagination, because what is the only reality that I believe in is higher love, higher power, and greater and unlimited beingness, which I haven't even scratched the surface, right? Even though people would look at me and say, wow, you're really out of the box. And I'm like, oh man, that box is even bigger than you or I know. And I'm going to
There's no box.
No, exactly. And I'm going to continue to keep crawling the box that I think is there. And so, okay, good. So we're almost out of time. So I love this. I love this conversation. Thank you for engaging, and thank you for being your unlimited self and doing the work you're doing. I love it. I think it's awesome. And I can see the courage in your face and in your conviction around what you do. So tell someone who's listening how they can get in touch with you, or let them know about anything specific you're working on that they might want to be involved in, Nina.
Well, right now I'm working on creating a course. It has been a very interesting process, because for me to take everything I know and to put it in 1, 2, 3 steps, how to teach people how to manifest their own lives by loving themselves. It's going to be a very interesting course. It's probably going to be done in about 3 weeks. I hope everybody gets it. Actually, I think about naming it "When the Soul Speaks to You." That's we gotta have to listen to our soul. That's number one. So I do private sessions. My private sessions are pretty amazing, because it takes me less than 5 minutes to completely clear cancer, genetic diseases, depression, give me schizophrenia. Clearing trauma is my favorite, because I've seen PTSD. I've seen so many people being stuck just because something happened to them. Rape victims. I've been raped. I've been through all this. I lost my husband. He fell off the roof in front of me. I don't know what I haven't been through. I know how to deal with it, but if I knew then what I know now, I could just probably remove it. So I do this for people who are stuck, who can't move on. I open all these doors. It's very easy for me. it's like 1, 2, 3, because I see the programs, I just literally delete the program.
Yeah.
So you kind of know that it happened, but you can't feel it anymore. You're not connected to it anymore. It doesn't create pain or blockages.
Yeah.
So anything, I remove any kind of memories, trauma, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual blocks, and I reinstall better joy, love, happiness, peace, whatever we are missing in our lives, whatever we are supposed to be. That's why
Yeah.
I don't install it, I reinstall it. I can't even say the word I install it into, because that's our original state of being. So I reinstall all these positive programs. So my phone number is 561-654-0177, or email energyworkunlimited@gmail.com.
Okay, that's
Any
great.
questions I can answer, communicate with dead people. I communicate with relatives who come around and want to say, give a message. I communicate with animals. I heal animals. I can work through, for example, I can work through you on your husband, your children, your aunts, your uncles.
Right.
I'm unlimited.
You do it all. Your energy work unlimited. That's great.
Energy work unlimited. I'm unlimited.
That's it. Awesome. Yes, you certainly are. All right. Okay, great. Well, thanks again for joining me. Thanks everybody else for watching and listening to the conversation, the great conversation that I've had with Nina. This is From the Nth Power. I can be reached at Nicole@NicoleDevlin.com, or my website is NicoleDevlin.com. I have this podcast. I do personal and one-on-one coaching and small business startup coaching as well around how to be in business. So if you're looking to increase your power in your life, if you're looking to make some changes, if you're looking to really understand who you are and how powerful you can be, definitely get in touch with me. And thanks so much for joining us today on From the Nth Power. Have a great day.